right, friends, here it's Nancy Estepa with Someone Cares. My first video is going to answer the question on what makes fractions so hard for elementary school students. Hi, I'm Nancy Estepa. I'm the owner and founder of Someone Cares. I am also an experienced classroom teacher and certified math specialist, and I have had tons of experience working with students in the public school system and outside of the public school system this past year, and I do know what makes fractions hard, and I know how to fix it too. So the first thing that makes fractions hard for students in elementary school is many students are lacking a deeper conceptual understanding of what a fraction is. Many students are solving fraction problems using counting reasoning. They may be given an area model, which is just think of things that you can cut up in real life: a pan of brownies, a pizza, all those traditional images of fractions, and we have kids write the fraction that's represented by the model, right? Well, if we're already giving them examples of models that have already been split up, then they can go ahead and just solve those problems just with counting. And then if they're solving them just with counting, they may even be able to write the fraction that matches, and they might even be able to say that fraction correctly. But just because they can count to 3, write a 3 in the numerator, count to 4, write a 4 in the denominator, does not mean that they actually have any idea about what the number 3/4 means. So usually what I do when I work with students is I give them lots of experience actually partitioning those models themselves. So you want the kids to be breaking them up. If you are only giving kids models that have already been broken up, chances are they are not developing that deep understanding of what the denominator does, how it breaks up one whole into equal parts, and those parts now have their own special names. So if I cut a pizza into 4 equal parts, those parts are called fourths. If I eat one of them, that's 1/4 of the pizza. If I eat 2 of them, that's 2/4 of the pizza. If I eat 3 of them, that's 3/4 of the pizza. But if you already give them the pizza that is cut in fourths, then you don't know if they really know what a fourth is. This is the biggest misconception that I see with students working with fractions, is they think that a fraction is 2 numbers stacked on top of each other instead of just a number that is not a whole number. The second thing goes right along with the first. If students do not have enough practice partitioning on their own, whether it is an area model, something that you would cut up, a set, something that you would share evenly, think like M&Ms or Skittles, or things that you wouldn't really cut up, like animals in a pet store. You're not going to cut up animals, hopefully, and things like that. Kids need experience in just breaking those up. Show me thirds, show me fourths, show me sixths, show me eighths, okay? After that, they need to really, as they're doing that, and after that, as they start working with doing problem solving with fractions, students need to understand the role of the numerator and denominator. So the numerator counts the parts, and the denominator gives me information about the size of those parts. If I'm breaking up one whole candy bar into fourths and I break up another whole candy bar into eighths, I want students to be able to see that if I take that same candy bar and I break it into 8 sections, those sections are going to be smaller. Those pieces are going to be smaller than if I took the same candy bar and only broke it in fourths. The more times I split up the whole, the smaller the pieces get. That's an essential understanding for 2nd grade that I can tell you a lot of kids in the upper grades still are not solid with. So we definitely want to make sure that kids understand the numerator counts how many parts. The denominator tells me about the size of those parts and how many of those parts make that whole, okay? The third reason why fractions are hard for elementary school students is because we really do not give students enough practice and exposure to using equivalence. This can start as early as you would ever start modeling fractions, but I think that sometimes we wait too long until, 4th grade, right when we're right about to go into adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. And if you wait that long, it's too late. I want students to know that 3/6 is 3 out of 6 equal parts, but I also want them to recognize 3/6 as a half. I also want them to recognize 6/6 as one whole. And this goes for any of the previous elementary grades, or even those 4th grade teachers, you guys are rock stars. You go really deep into those rational numbers, and it's the first year that kids in elementary really do that. Make sure that you don't wait until your fraction unit to let students have chances to explore and use equivalence. That way, when it comes time to doing problem solving with rational numbers and they need to get that common denominator to make those parts the same size so that they can add or subtract the same way they would with whole numbers, they're going to already know a lot of those relationships already. My favorite way to do it is just to have them build those fraction pieces themselves, have them build half the halves to get fourths, half the fourths to get eighths. Do the same thing with thirds, sixths, and twelfths, and really get them to understand those relationships between them. It will save you a heck of a lot of time, and it will really help your kids understand fractions as numbers. Stay tuned for our next 3 tips on, what does my next one do? Oh, place value. That'll be my next one. Have a good one.